colleagues, esteemed faculty members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to present to you the review of my doctoral research proposal titled Examining Racial Disparities in New York and New Jersey Drug Law Enforcement, a test of critical race and labeling theories. In the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'll guide you through the major components of my research, providing a comprehensive overview of the design, rationale, and anticipated contribution to the academic literature. As I embark on this academic journey, my aim is to not only to dissect the criminal justice system in the state of New Jersey and New York, but to contribute substantively to the ongoing discourse on global criminal justice reform. The topics in the research we covered the following: the introduction, literature review, methodology, which is the research design and method, presentation of research, which is the result itself, and 5, the summary, implication, conclusion, and recommendation, which is the last part of the last part of the research. The introduction, I will talk briefly about topics like the context, focus and scope, relevance of the research, question objective, and overview structure will be appropriately touched. Of course, this is where it all begins, where the critical area of the research starts from. This study is out to examine critically the disparities in the drug enforcement practices in the 2 geographical areas of New Jersey and New York through the lens of critical race and labeling theories. I'm going to be focusing on the disproportionate impact of minority communities of Black American and Hispanic Americans populations. The research is exploring how systemic racism and labeling process has contributed to disparity in the arrest and conviction and sentences in these 2 states by analyzing the historical and the sociological factors alongside any policy narrative. The study is aimed to shed light on the underlying mechanism that perpetuate these disparities and propose an avenue for policy reform to foster more equitable outcome in the criminal justice system. It is structured in a way that several sections will be examined about the racial disparity in drug enforcement through this vehicle of critical race theory and labeling theory. Moreover, I'm going to talk about the research covers the relevance of the research. In this place, this is the area where I dealt with the relevance of the research and the potential that eliminates the persistent racial discrimination in drug enforcement in these 2 states of New Jersey and New York through the vehicle of CRT and LA and LT. The study aimed to deepen the understanding of systemic inequalities within the criminal justice system And this research is timely as it addresses a pressing social justice concern and trying to offer insight into an insight that could inform a policy reform aiming at reducing racial disparity in law enforcement practices in these two states, particularly in the area that is being dominated by Black American and Hispanic Americans. My research question, just like any other research question, intend to unhat the motivated factors that are contributing to racial disparities in drug enforcement, while employing both a theoretical framework and methodological tools to deepen the understanding and meaningful intervention for police policies, reform, and equity justice practices in the state of New Jersey and the state of New York uh, that this dissertation covered. Um, the, this dissertation has generated a number of questions that need to be addressed. These are the questions that is generated. One, how do critical race theory and labeling theory contribute to explaining the persistence of racial disparity in drug enforcement practices in New York and in New Jersey? And the second question, what historical and sociological factor in this state of New Jersey and New York contribute to the racial disparity in drug enforcement? That enhance theoretical understanding of the racial inequality in the U.S. criminal justice system. The third one is how do discourses and narratives in U.S. drug enforcement policy structure perpetuate racial inequalities? In what insight can critical discourse analysis provide into the process? And last but not the least, question, how does social-linguistic analysis contribute to the understanding the impact of labeling on racial disparity in drug enforcement practices in the state of New Jersey and in the state of New York? This dissertation also covers the rationale behind the 4 questions that was we are trying to provide answer to in this research. I also mentioned the objective and of the research. The objective of the research is to investigate how CRT and LT contribute to explain the racial disparity in drug enforcement in New York and in New Jersey. It's also to identify the historical, sociological influencing this disparity that enhances historical understanding of the subject matter. 3 is to analyze how discourse in drug enforcement policy perpetuates racial inequalities using critical discourse analysis. Also to use sociological linguistics to analyze and examine the impact of labeling on racial disparity in drug enforcement. Next further is to I deal with the issue of the variables. The specific outcome that indicate the presence or extent of racial disparity and the drug enforcement practices that encompasses dependent and independent variables. This measure that aim to capturing the multifaceted nature of the racial disparities in drug enforcement that encompasses both qualitative data and qualitative data. The dependent variables, of course, this is the specific outcome or measure being examined that include the rates of arrest and conviction, sentencing disparity, disproportionate impact, collateral consequences, perception, experience of law enforcement agencies in the 2 states of New Jersey and in New York. I also went further to make provision about the independent variable, which is the essential for understanding the complex interplay of the factors contributing to racial disparity in drug enforcement outcome. They provide a framework for analyzing how systemic factors intersect with individual experiences and community dynamics seem to shape the disparity in arrest, conviction, sentencing, uh, in drug offense related in New Jersey and in New York. Independent variables are factors that hypotheses to influence these disparities. It's that include the socioeconomic status, policy practices, legal framework and policies, racial biases and discrimination, community characteristics. Um, from that, I move to the literature review. I said earlier in the previous part of the um, dissertation, literature reviews is pertinent to deeply and deepen the research by looking deeply on previous or related work that has been done in the past. Um, uh, for sure, this research is not entirely in its own new. So we have to look at what has been done in the past, evaluate the sources, and identify the themes, debate, and find the gaps, and outline the structure to document the literature review. The literature review in this study through CRT and LT serves several crucial purposes that highlighting the existing knowledge, the gap, and significance of the research topic, whereby I contextualize the racial disparities, identify racial gap, theoretical foundation, policy, and practical implication and significance of the topic. These are the factors that determines the literature review, what I'm looking for there, where I'm looking at it, since the subject itself is not absolutely new. So I want to see what has been done in the past. If I agree with them, or if the facts that will be emanating from the research agree with it. If it is not, is there any difference? What is the difference? What has changed from the last or the knowledge in the past? The searching for the relevant literature. In the pursuit of the reform within the criminal justice system, it is multifaceted and challenge that demand a comprehensive understanding of the existing literature. In seeking relevant sources, it is imperative that I navigate through scholarly articles, academic publication, government report, and other reputable sources that contribute to the discourse on prison and arrests on based on drug in the two states of New Jersey and New York. Of course, the credibility and reliability of the selected sources are very important. They are very paramount in constructing a robust literature review. Peer-reviewed journal, scholar books, uh, and report from recognized institutions will form uh, my basis for exploration. A critical evaluation of each of the sources, methodologies, sample size, and theoretical framework will be conducted to ensure um, the integrity of the information I will be gathering from all these sources that I'll be consulting with. Of course, in each one of them, I'm going to look at the theme, I look at the debate, I look at the gap on racial disparities, on drug enforcement, um, to assist in this building of the dissertation. The structure and the literature review. Sorry. The rationale for studying this disparity in both New Jersey and New York will be thoroughly analyzed. Then I'm going to be looking at the theoretical framework. The fundamental theoretical framework rested upon this research is the CRT and the LT as the tool to guide in the analysis of this research. Um, critical race theory has been challenging the conventional legal and social norms in examining the race intersecting the power structure and thereby perpetuating uh, inequalities. So also we're going to be using the labeling theories, which focuses on how the society reaction to labeling. Also, the next one is going to be looking at the conceptual sensuality of the framework. Um, the conceptual framework for this study integrates the critical race theory and labeling theory to analyze racial disparity in drug enforcement. CRT provides a structural analysis of systemic racism within the legal system that is focusing on how policies and practices are perpetuated inequalities. Meanwhile, LT complements this by examining how societal labeling, such as criminal, shape individual identities and interaction with the law enforcement agency. Together, this framework guide the exploration of historical, sociological discourse factors that contribute to the disparity in drug enforcement in both New Jersey and New York by offering a comprehensive understanding of the complexity of interplay between the race, law, and justice. My research methodology in this research is going to encompasses both qualitative and qualitative. Therefore, it's going to be a mixed research method. My data collection method is, like I said, is going to be a mixed method approach. Um, the comprehensive understanding, the rationale behind it is uh, this more qualitative and quantitative, which is mixed, allow for a holistic exploration of racial disparity in drug enforcement. Uh, this qualitative uh, method will enable the collection of empirical data, while the qualitative will give me the opportunity to do a case, an in-depth interview with people that is affected and people that carry out these policies and people that are formulating the policies. So it gives me the opportunity and a comprehensive understanding of the subject matter. So it is imperative to use both qualitative and quantitative method. Therefore, it's going to be purely a mixed method. Data collection method is going to be by participating people like the law enforcement agents, residents in minority neighborhood, and particularly those people that this thing affected their life, the ex-convicts, that those people that got convicted because of drug uh, uh, got infected because of drug issues. And the purpose of this is to capture the diverse perspective of racial disparities in drug enforcement and explore subjective experience and perception and uncover the underlying factor contributing um, to the disparities. So the quantitative method is going to be by a survey, of course, and is to gather the empirical data and the statistic analysis technique as regression, such we use normality regression analysis will be used to examine the correlation between the hypothesis and derived from TRT and LT and provide a quantitative support for qualitative findings. Tools and material used. Statistical software of SPSS will be used for quantitative analysis and generated facial presentation data trend for clarity. We also use for interview protocol. I'm going to develop structural interview protocol to ensure consistency and relevancy that is facilitated. Again, an open-ended question to allow for nuanced responses from diverse background and people. I'm conscious of research biases, and I put in place things to mitigate against research biases by ensuring a diverse sample of subfield and interview to capture varied perspective, stratify sampling based on demographic factors to prevent biases, cross-validated finding from quantitative and qualitative method to enhance reliability, identify and address inconsistency in the data. The research results will be follow the previous method used by other researchers, which entails the data collection analysis phase that will be uncover the intricacy dynamic within the criminal justice system in the state of New Jersey and New York by systemically examine the racial disparity and drug level enforcement. The research will provide a foundation for subsequent discussion and implication for criminal justice system reform in the two states of New Jersey and New York. The next and the final one will be the discussion. The research journey should have eliminated the intricate challenges within the criminal justice system in the New York and New Jersey state by unveiling the complexity of racial disparities and drug enforcement. The study will lay the groundwork for a call for action, and a holistic reform should be very, very imperative. That should be necessitated the collaboration between the policymakers, law enforcement agency, legal practitioners, and the community they serve. Conclusion. This is where I'm good. This is where I talk about the journey through the dissertation, the conclusion of this dissertation, the seed chain will have been sown, and making a proposal to law to policymakers and contributing to the literature, bridging finding solution to the gap between the previous ones and the current one, of course, and the last one will be to be the references, all the sources I have consulted in preparing this research. Thank you for your time, for waiting throughout this period. Thank you. I appreciate you.